Hello guys, welcome to the Filmic Nerd. Now I'm going to be sharing you 4 tips on cinematography today, right after the intro. I'm a bit nervous right now because this is my first video on YouTube, so let's see how this goes. We filmmakers and videographers always want to improve, and sometimes we kind of fall into the trap of thinking that better equipment makes us get better videos, but this is partially true. But this isn't always the case, and sometimes you might just spend a lot of money on really expensive gear and just realize it doesn't look good. Without any delays, let's talk about the 4 cinematography tips. Tip number 1, use foreground. We watch videos in 2D, and just filming your subject sometimes doesn't get us that 3D depth. You can partially achieve this using shallow depth of field, because that gives it that 3D feel. However, having a foreground and then your subject and then finally your background gives the viewer more 3D kind of feel, and that lets your audience engage more into your videos. So let's compare a video with the foreground, then the subject, and then the background, and a video without a foreground. As you can see, the foreground really takes the video to the next level. Tip number 2, use leading lines. Sometimes people do this subconsciously without noticing they're doing it, and that is good, but it's still good to have it in mind so you never make the mistake of not having leading lines. Leading lines are used to direct an audience view directly to the subject. So it might be a side of a wall or the floor, a carpet. It can be really anything that directs your view to the subject. Leading lines are mostly used in architecture. However, that doesn't mean that that's the only place they use it. You can use it for anything. I can't think of one situation where leading lines wouldn't work out. Tip number 3, use symmetry. The problem with filmmakers is that they can easily get trapped into using rule of thirds. And I'm not saying it's wrong or anything, rule of thirds is great, but we fall into the trap of using rule of thirds only, and that's not good, because we humans like to view things in an order, and you can achieve this easily using symmetry. When you film something using symmetry, it really pleases the human eye as everything is in order and looks clean. Sometimes people just forget about symmetry and the rule of thirds, which isn't really good. Composition really helps because it makes it easier for your viewer or your audience to easily navigate to the place where you want them to look, because over these years, we humans, when we watch a video, we are kind of got trained unnoticingly to view at some particular places on the video, and using a composition, this really makes it easy to navigate where you want the audience to look at. And finally, tip 4, fill the frame. I see so many times where people don't fill the frame when they really could. It really adds emotion, but don't force this anywhere because it needs to come out of the story. Fill in the frame with your subject or whatever you're filming really helps the audience to see what you want them to see. And this is why extreme close-ups are really effective when there's a really emotional scene. It really shows the emotion of a character or an actor, and that could emotionally attach your audience to that person. And finally, a bonus to plan your videos before you actually shoot them. To edit them before. What I mean by that is kind of plan what shot goes where, and then what shot, and then what shot. For example, we have shot A, and then shot B, and then shot C. Because I know I'm gonna edit these in this order, what I try to do is I try to keep where I want my audience to look at one point. So in clip A, as you can see, with the circle, that's where I want the audience to look. And then in clip B, it's the same place roughly. It quickly navigates the audience eyes to where you want them to see. That's it for today, guys. Thank you. Don't forget to subscribe to Filmic Nerd.